Today, we are breaking down a tense and highly consequential exchange on Capitol Hill, one that cuts straight to the heart of American democracy, military professionalism, and the critical line between political leadership and political loyalty.
Goes back. Chair, and I recognize the gentleman from New York, Mr. Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you both for being here. We have all worn the uniform. We've all served in combat. We all love our country. We all revere our troops. And I really want to speak with you both, not as partisans, but as patriots. And I want to talk specifically about the events at Fort Bragg the other day. General Kane, I want to start with you. As a junior officer, were you ever required to make a pledge of political loyalty? Yes or no?
Sir, as you know, we're an apolitical military, so, no.
Thank you. At any time in your 30-plus years of incredibly distinguished service, did you have to make a pledge of partisan or political loyalty?
No, sir.
Thank you. Did you ever serve in any unit or command at any level where service members were required to make a pledge of political loyalty?
No, sir.
Thank you. And I want to commend you. You've been on the record on this, including in your confirmation hearings where you clarified, quote, "I've never worn any political merchandise or said anything to that effect." I appreciate that. That is the standard, and commend you for saying so and continuing to model that. General Kane, one last question for you. Should soldiers have to pledge political loyalty to participate in an event with our commander-in-chief? Yes or no, please.
Sir, I'm not. First, no. I'm not aware of any time in history that soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines have been asked to do that. I think.
I'm sorry, General. I do want to, just in the interest of time, I want to talk about what happened at Fort Bragg 2 days ago. There was guidance put out, and this has been verified by multiple independent news outlets, saying, quote, these are to the soldiers of the 18th Airborne Corps and the U.S. Army. If soldiers have political views that are in opposition to the current administration, then they need to speak with their leadership and get swapped out. This is swapped out of the event with the president. In addition, in an incredibly disturbing incident, there was a pop-up shop selling MAGA merchandise on post at Fort Bragg. And to summarize this, there was a commander from Bragg who said on the record, quote, "This has been a bad week for the Army, for anyone who cares about us being a neutral institution. This was shameful." If those are the facts, and I know the Army is investigating at least the MAGA pop-up shop, is that appropriate, General Kane?
Sir, I haven't seen any of these reports. I'm not familiar with them, but as I mentioned earlier and in my confirmation hearing, the nation demands a apolitical, nonpartisan military.
I appreciate you saying that and happy to share those reports. Secretary Hegseth, are you familiar with DoD Directive 1344.10? Political activities of the members of the armed forces?
Well, first off, I don't buy into your
yes or no?
insinuation
Are you familiar
that pledges are being done under this administration. That's
I reclaim my time. Are you familiar with this DoD directive?
There's never one time in my service or in this Defense
Secretary,
Department.
will you please answer
I'm answering your
these
question
questions.
where politics has been considered for service members.
Are you familiar with this directive? Yes or no?
Which directive?
DoD Directive 1344.10. I'm happy to provide you a copy. There's even a one-page red and green cheat sheet. Are you familiar with it? This is the same directive from when we were all in uniform.
I'm sure I am.
Has anything changed in that directive under your guidance, given what happened 2 days ago at Fort Bragg? Is there a new policy change that we're not aware of?
Again, I totally reject your insinuation.
Is there a policy change to DoD Directive 1344.10?
I know what you're attempting to insinuate, but there's
I'll
no
take that as a
policy
no.
change and there is no policy.
Mr. Secretary, have you ever worn a MAGA hat in front of the troops?
I own plenty of MAGA hats, but I don't.
Have you ever worn one in front of the troops at an official event? I don't believe so. I don't believe so. Do you think it's appropriate for the President of the United States to wear political merchandise, including a MAGA hat, at official events, including West Point commencement?
The Commander-in-Chief
yes or no?
Can wear whatever hat he wants, to include the phrase, "Make America Great Again," because I would like to make America great again as well.
So you think that's appropriate?
The Commander-in-Chief has the right, in front of his troops, to wear whatever he'd like.
Okay, I strongly disagree with you. And I urge you both, especially you, General Kane, as we see an increasingly political rhetoric, including from the Secretary, to please, for the good of our troops, this is an incredibly difficult moment, and we need leaders like you to continue to echo the apolitical nature. I have 12 seconds. Mr. Secretary, I don't say this lightly. I have to say this on the record. I think your tenure as Secretary of Defense has been shameful and weak, and you should resign. I yield back.
Gentlemen.
If you're following how the military is navigating rising political pressures, this is a segment you need to understand. And as always, if you appreciate clear analysis without the noise, make sure you subscribe for more coverage. What happened today centers on Congressman Pat Ryan of New York, himself a West Point graduate and combat veteran, questioning military leaders about a disturbing report from Fort Bragg. Ryan opens by grounding the moment in a shared reality. He reminds the witnesses and the viewers that everyone at that table has served, worn the uniform, and risked their lives for the country. This framing is not accidental. It's his way of saying that this issue is about patriotism, not partisanship. If you're watching along, hit that subscribe button, because these are the kinds of discussions that shape how the military operates in moments of political stress. Ryan then drills down with a series of yes or no questions directed at General Kane about pledges of political loyalty. These questions might seem simple on the surface, but they're pulling at a very deep thread. The United States military was built on a foundational idea that troops swear an oath to the Constitution, not to a president, not to a political party, not to any ideology. Ryan forces the general to reaffirm this principle publicly, point by point, and General Kane, to his credit, answers cleanly. No, he has never been asked to pledge political loyalty, not as a junior officer, not as a leader, not at any stage of his career. This matters because it distinguishes the U.S. military from militaries in countries where political allegiance becomes a tool of power. If you want more breakdowns like this, remember to subscribe so you never miss a moment. Then comes the core issue. Ryan cites verified reports indicating that before President Biden's visit to Fort Bragg, soldiers were told that if their political views were opposed to the administration, they needed to speak to leadership and be replaced for the event. In military culture, optics matter. Chain of command matters, and trust in political neutrality matters most of all. The idea that a soldier's attendance could be tied to political views is exactly the kind of scenario military ethicists warn about, because it opens the door to politicizing the force. Stay with us and subscribe, because understanding these moments is essential to understanding the integrity of our institutions. When Ryan pivots to Secretary Pete Hegseth, the tone shifts. Ryan asked directly whether the Secretary is familiar with DoD Directive 134410, the policy that governs political activity for service members. This policy is not obscure. In fact, every commander knows it. Every installation is supposed to enforce it. It lays out restrictions to keep the military from becoming a political stage. But instead of answering the question, Hegseth deflects, suggesting that politics has never influenced service during his tenure or service. Ryan cuts in quickly, reclaiming his time. He asks again, and he even offers to provide the directive on paper. This kind of back and forth is important because when the political leadership of the Pentagon appears unfamiliar or unwilling to acknowledge long-standing rules on political conduct, it raises the stakes. If you're learning something new about how civil-military relations work, top subscribed because we break this down clearly every time. All of this leads to a broader question that viewers need to wrestle with. What does it mean to ask the military to remain apolitical when the political climate itself is aggressively polarized? These hearings are not just about isolated incidents. They are about the pressures building around an institution that Americans rely on to remain above politics. The U.S. military has been one of the few trusted institutions left in the country, but that trust erodes when political campaigns try to use troops as props or when commanders on the ground feel institutions are slipping away from neutrality. This is why members of Congress are pressing the issue publicly, because the moment the military is perceived as partisan, every operation, every order, and every deployment becomes suspect. Whether you agree with Ryan or Hegseth, whether you're left, right, or independent, the principle at stake is bigger than the politics of the moment. The American military's legitimacy depends on its neutrality, and once that line is blurred, it is almost impossible to rebuild. If you value clear reporting on these critical issues, make sure you subscribe so you can stay informed and keep these conversations grounded in fact, context, and the long view.